Archangel Michael says, "There was a moment last night when your entire house pulsed with a force not visible to the human eye. It wasn't the wind rattling your window or the electricity flickering, it was a divine presence trying to enter, but something dark blocked the threshold. You were asleep, unaware, but a battle nearly broke out over your soul while you were dreaming. A force was sent from heaven specifically for you. That force took the form of an angel, not with wings, not with trumpets, but with silence and glowing light. He reached your door, but before he could cross it, your spiritual doorway was closed from neglect. Neglect not of your physical surroundings, but of your awareness. You've been chosen before, and many divine messages have crossed your path. But each time you ignored them, something shifted slightly around you, almost invisible, but real. Archangel Michael says, skipping this again would mean the third angel this week will be denied access to your realm. And when angels lose access, darkness does not wait quietly, it enters boldly, quickly, mercilessly. Type Amen to get blessing 333. There are powers that operate when your back is turned. There are whispers when you walk into your kitchen at 3 a.m., thinking you're alone. That feeling of being watched, even in your own room, has not been imagined. This is not a warning, it's a spiritual emergency. Every time you delay or scroll past what's meant for you, a delay is imposed on divine help. The more you hesitate, the more permission is granted to forces that do not wish you well. The energy in your home is being contested. At the edge of your property line, light waits with breath held, while shadows already begin circling the weakest point in your spiritual protection. It started the moment you told yourself, "I'll pray later," or, "This is probably nothing." A certain door in your house, perhaps your bedroom closet or the back door, has become a point of vulnerability. An angel stood at it 3 nights ago, ready to seal it spiritually. But because you didn't listen the last time, he couldn't complete his assignment. Type Amen to get blessing 777. Someone you don't know has spoken a word of destruction against your household. It was wrapped in a false compliment, disguised in laughter, hidden in their tone. The angels who were assigned to intercept that word are still circling your environment, waiting for your acknowledgement. When you delay, their power is weakened, not because they are weak, but because your agreement matters. Your silence or disbelief is darkness's biggest permission slip. And right now, silence has grown too loud in your space. Archangel Michael says, one angel with your name etched in golden light was turned away because your energy did not welcome him. Not intentionally, but through forgetfulness, through skipping, through the absence of spiritual awareness. Do you remember the last time your sleep was uneasy? That was not insomnia. That was an unseen argument between a heavenly being and a lesser spirit, right above your bed. You may not remember it, but your body does. Your heart raced, your limbs twitched, your dreams blurred. Type Amen to get blessing 222. You weren't supposed to see this message by accident. This was a line through multiple interferences that were cleared just for you. The angel who ensured this message reaches your screen used the last ounce of allowed interference before darkness tried to reroute it. There are certain names spoken in heavenly circles. And yours was whispered with urgency. There was a plea for intervention, not for a crisis, but for prevention. The enemy knows that if one more angel is blocked, it will get stronger in the only area you've left unguarded, your mind. You've noticed forgetfulness. Moments where you can't remember what you were doing. Words escape you mid-sentence. That is not just tiredness, it is a slow infiltration, and angels are trying to shield your mental clarity. This slow mental fog is designed to block you from recognizing divine opportunities. It doesn't attack in big ways, it creeps, seeps, and seeps until you believe it's just life, but life is not meant to feel like drowning in air. Type Amen to get blessing $9.99. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. There's someone close to you whose energy is a doorway, not because they're bad, but because they're spiritually open to chaos. They unknowingly bring energies into your space. That's why after they leave, your place feels heavier. The angels assigned to you are fighting for more room in your home, but your refusal to engage is making their task harder. Every spiritual entity operates under laws. If you ignore your angel, he must retreat. You think you've been avoiding bad luck, but in truth, it's your angel who's been intercepting curses before they manifest. Every missed accident, every close call, those weren't coincidences, they were divine interceptions. But the scale is tipping now, the angel's access is getting narrower. The more you treat this message like a scrollable moment, the more you grant permission to something that wants to silence your protection. Type Amen to get blessing 444. There's a chair in your house no one uses often, but someone once sat there and left behind energy. That object has become a resting place for a lingering presence. You may have noticed it creaks, shifts, or chills pass near it when no one's looking. Your angel tried to cleanse it 3 days ago, but the blockage was too thick. That's what happens when acknowledgement is skipped. It becomes harder to purify what's neglected. If you've recently found yourself agitated for no reason or your pets stare at one spot for long periods, pay attention. They sense what's being hidden from your sight. They can't remove it, but they're signaling for help. Archangel Michael says, a final attempt is being made to cleanse your spiritual perimeter, but this time, you must give permission. Not through ritual, but through conscious openness and receiving this message in full. Type Amen to get blessing 121. The darkness isn't afraid of physical doors, it walks through your Wi-Fi, your mirrors, your voices left unheard. It watches for your spiritual silence, your emotional withdrawal. And that is when it enters. A recent argument that erupted without cause, that wasn't just emotional misunderstanding, that was a seed planted by a spirit who gained access during one of your scrolls past a divine warning. You thought it was random, but it was orchestrated. And now your atmosphere is charged with friction, confusion, and invisible resistance. Every skipped message weakens the divine network you once relied on. You used to have clarity, synchronicity, signs, now it feels delayed. That's not because heaven forgot, it's because too many messages were dismissed before they could deliver their impact. Type Amen to get blessing 888. You're being watched, not just by heaven, but by those who fear what will happen if you truly awaken. The darker forces surrounding your environment are terrified of one thing, your agreement with light. Every, not now, every, maybe later, feeds them. They lose power only when you actively choose to engage. Right now, your lack of action has become their invitation. There was a mark placed over your threshold, one visible only in the spiritual realm. It glows dimmer every time you ignore the messages that are heaven sent, it must be rekindled, and only your spiritual alertness can do that. They've already started targeting your relationships, miscommunications, delays in messages, accidental offenses. It's not chaos, it's design. A design that depends on your continued dismissal of your divine allies. Type Amen to get blessing 144. There's a voice you keep hearing before sleep, it says your name, or calls out lightly. That's not your imagination. That's the angel who was once closest to your soul, now relegated to the edge of your space, whispering for entry. A loved one who passed on left behind a blessing, but the channel has been blocked. That angel has been trying to deliver it, but without your attention, the gift remains in limbo. This is not about fear, it's about urgency. Because soon, a moment will arrive that demands spiritual clarity. If you continue skipping divine alignment, you may walk into that moment unarmed. This is the final grace window. After this, silence from the spiritual side may begin, not as punishment, but because your choices become the barrier. Don't wait for loss to understand the value of divine access. Type Amen to get blessing 555. Archangel Michael says if you've read this far, you've just broken the loop that darkness hoped you would stay in. You've interrupted the spiritual decay. And now, light can begin again. Even now, one angel stands by your mirror. Another is waiting near your kitchen. One is ready at your back door. All they needed was your attention to activate again. They will restore what was slipping. Reclaim what was drifting, fortify what was weakening. But they can only do so because you opened this in full. You have just granted divine access, that glow you'll notice tonight? That sigh of relief you'll feel in your sleep? That's your spiritual protection resuming its rightful place. Your energy has already begun to shift from the moment you reached the last word. Light recognizes attention, and heaven always responds when the chosen one makes even the slightest move back toward truth. The glow around your soul had dimmed, but it never disappeared. That's why darkness kept knocking, not because you were weak, but because you are rare. Rare energy attracts both heavenly guardians and envious spirits. The candles in the spirit world are lit again for your name. The angels have resumed recording your readiness. Each step you take now, even a breath of awareness, is sharpening the sword your divine protector holds. You may have felt fatigue, emotional exhaustion, and confusion lately. It's not just burnout, it's spiritual suppression caused by interference. But now, the tide has begun to turn because you dared to read what they didn't want you to see. Type Amen to get blessing 636. There's a name being written in the air above your house right now. It is yours, surrounded by circles of divine gold. With every breath you take after acknowledging this message, that glow expands, reclaiming space from darkness. That crackling in the ceiling? That wasn't old wood. It was resistance leaving. That sigh you released earlier? That was your soul, remembering its freedom. These little signs may seem small, but spiritually, they are thunder. Someone once performed a spiritual act against your household, maybe knowingly, maybe not, but its lingering effects weakened your angels' entry points. Since then, they've hovered instead of entered, circling instead of sealing. You have just reopened one of those points. Now, divine access is increasing again, slowly, yes, but steadily. It begins with light in your thoughts, warmth in your chest, and a calmness you haven't felt in a while. Type Amen to get blessing 747. There was an object placed in your space by someone who smiled at you but carried envy. It was innocent in appearance, a book, a plant, a gift, but it held residue. That residue has clung to your walls, and your angels have tried 3 times to lift it. You felt it each time through restlessness, through unexplained agitation. They tried to help, but you skipped their message. That's when the heaviness remained. But now, with your renewed awareness, they have begun their work again. Tonight, one of your angels will hover at that object. And if you remain open, if you say just one word of light, they will burn through the residue until it disintegrates. It will happen quietly, but the spiritual effect will be tremendous. There are people who've underestimated your divine backup. They whispered about your fall. They counted on your disbelief, but now that your angelic access has resumed, those whispers will echo back with confusion and fear. Type Amen to get blessing 212. You are now in a fragile window of divine repositioning. That means, everything can shift, but only if you stay alert. If you begin skipping again, the opening will narrow and the delay will resume. This message didn't just arrive on your feed or screen by chance. A series of heavenly alignments were moved for you to see this at this exact moment. It was not an algorithm, it was angelic persistence. And now that you've responded by reading this far, the seal has been broken. A new wave of divine guardians are coming forward to circle your dwelling. Some will restore what was lost. Some will prevent what was planned against you. Don't look around, look within. The real change begins in your frequency, your tone, your recognition of subtle shifts. Because when your energy aligns again, heaven begins to fight visibly on your behalf. Type Amen to get blessing 191. The tension in your shoulders is easing because the darkness that was attached to your aura has been weakened. That presence that caused confusion is now shrinking back. It knows it lost the moment you paid attention. An angel has just walked through your kitchen, another stood beside the front door, marking it with a spiritual barrier. You won't see it with your eyes. But your body will feel the shift. You'll sleep better tonight. And when you do, one angel will sit at the edge of your bed. Not because you're in danger, but because you're now in alignment. Alignment brings clarity, peace, and eventual elevation. Archangel Michael says, there are still more angels waiting to return. Each one has a message, a mission, and a miracle. But they can only move fully when you continue walking this path with awareness. Type Amen to get blessing 555. A spiritual light has just reignited above your home. If someone passes by tonight and suddenly slows or looks twice, that's why. They won't know it consciously, but they'll sense the divine pulse again. Your home is becoming a beacon. Not just for angels, but for blessings that were once delayed. Unexpected favor, once paused due to interference, is now moving toward your address again. Every word of this message is recalibrating your atmosphere. Even now, old shadows are collapsing at the corners of your environment. You'll see this in subtle things. Technology working smoother, unexpected peace, even distant people calling again. This isn't just energy, it's orchestration. Angels are spiritual engineers, and your home is now under divine reconstruction, all because you chose to stop and engage. Type Amen to get blessing 383. You'll soon remember dreams you once had as a child. Ideas you forgot, goals you abandoned. That's not nostalgia, it's restoration. Heaven is reminding you of who you were before fear dimmed your light. Someone once tried to spiritually silence you. Their words were heavy, their looks sharp, their energy suppressive, but that bond is breaking now. The angels are unraveling the chains they left behind in your mind. There is an ancestral spirit, not dark, but protective, watching you now with pride. Because you just broke a generational pattern of skipping divine alignment. That alone echoes across your bloodline in ways you'll soon witness, and those who counted on your silence, they will be confused by your resurgence. Because now, angels are returning with the blueprint of your original destiny, the one that darkness hoped you'd forget forever. Type Amen to get blessing 616. You have just unlocked access to something that was sealed. A divine chamber of protection has opened, and inside it are secrets your soul has longed to remember. Angels are preparing to reveal them, one dream at a time. Tonight, when the air stills, listen. A whisper may come, not frightening, not loud, but certain. It may call your name, or say one word repeatedly. That will be your signal. When that happens, do not fear. You are not alone. That's your angel re-entering, stepping where it was once blocked, and restoring what was once stolen in silence. They never stop trying to reach you. But now you have let them in. And now the miracles begin. Type Amen to get blessing 117. More blessings will begin to align with your physical space. If something breaks in the next few days, a light bulb, a clock, a radio, don't panic. That's residue energy being cleared out forcefully. You may notice an increase in nature signs, birds hovering, butterflies entering your window, pets acting strange. These are confirmations that the veil between your world and the spiritual has thinned again. Someone may confess something unexpected to you. Listen closely. That confession was guided by an angel to free you from a false bond. Don't reject it. It is part of your spiritual advancement. You have officially stepped into a transition gate. From this moment forward, no shadow can linger unless you ignore again, so stay present. Stay aware. Keep opening. Type Amen to get blessing 818. Your destiny is being rewritten with ancient ink. The old version, the one affected by fear, pain, and loss, is being folded and sealed. A new scroll with your name is already in angelic hands, the weight on your chest. That's not anxiety. That's the breaking of unseen spiritual resistance. You are shedding layers that never belonged to you, and angels are clapping in realms you cannot hear. You'll start to notice light in your reflections. Not from a bulb, but from within your eyes. That's divine confirmation that your soul is becoming visible again to the spiritual realm. They tried to make you numb, they tried to keep you disconnected. But Archangel Michael says, your reconnection has begun. Stay awake, stay blessed. And never skip again. Type Amen to get blessing 303. Now that the path is clearing, so too is the communication from above. It will no longer come as chaos or confusion, but as whispers of peace, unexpected timing, and spiritual precision. You've entered a sacred corridor of divine restoration, and every step forward is a reversal of what the darkness once celebrated. Your feet may feel lighter, your thoughts less foggy. And a new kind of quiet is approaching, not emptiness, but divine stillness. That's how you'll know angels are walking across your floor tonight. They will not knock, they will not shout, they will just begin. A gate once locked behind your name has been reopened by this act of reading with attention, and through that gate comes a spiritual breeze, a shift you will feel in the way your heart no longer aches like it used to. The resistance around your joy is lifting. You must understand this: the war was never just around you, it was inside your atmosphere, and now, as light reclaims the air you breathe, so too will goodness begin to settle in the corners of your life that once collected dust and delay. Type Amen to get blessing 424. Your name has now been added back to a list in the spirit realm, not a list of punishment, but of purpose. A list that includes those who still have divine assignments to complete. You were nearly removed from it through distraction, but this message corrected the record. There's a person connected to your timeline who is being visited by angels on your behalf right now. They won't know why they feel drawn to reach out to you, but they will. The reconnection will begin a ripple of healing. Your room is under divine surveillance now. Watchers, those who stand over places of spiritual entry, to ensure what once slipped in under shadow cannot return. Your emotional frequency has spiked upward. You might cry for no reason. You might laugh while alone. That's your soul shaking off the weight it didn't realize it carried for years. Type Amen to get blessing 505. Something buried is about to rise. Not in fear, but in fulfillment. A promise that was once shelved in your life has been dusted off and placed back in your energetic field. The enemy hoped you'd forget. The enemy hoped you'd skip. But now, even the timeline that was twisted is straightening. And angels are walking the new path ahead of you, lighting every step. There's a knock that will come soon, not physical, but spiritual. It might come as a moment of deep peace. Or as a sudden urge to say something you've held back for years. That moment will be a coded door opening. Archangel Michael says you were born with access to realms most people fear to understand. That's why your life has been a battlefield. That's why angels like me are sent to your side when darkness grows too arrogant. Type Amen to get blessing 626. From this moment forward, any energy that approaches you must now pass through your divine security. No more unauthorized interference. No more dream invasions. The gate is sealed with angelic fire. Don't be surprised if certain people disappear from your life. Some were never meant to linger, they were shadows with smiles. Your new frequency will repel them before they can confuse you again. You'll feel your body wanting different things: food, rest, movement, colors. That's not a diet change. That's your spirit adjusting to light again. Follow those signals, they are angelic instructions in disguise. Something you once lost will find its way back. Not exactly as before, but reborn, refined, and meant for your current self, not the version that accepted less. Your readiness has made room. Type Amen to get blessing 929. You were always protected. Even when it felt silent, but now that your awareness has returned, your angels can engage fully, without limitations, without waiting, without begging for entry. Every part of your past that felt like punishment is about to be used as proof of your endurance. You will become a walking testimony of divine intervention, people will stare at your peace and not know how it arrived so fast. Your soul just whispered, "Thank you." It knows you've reclaimed something, and now, even the ancestors you never met are rising in celebration, because your awakening affects every part of your lineage. This is not just a moment. This is a shift, and because you didn't skip this time, a storm meant to hit you has been rerouted. You may never know how close the darkness came, but heaven does. Type Amen to get blessing 414. You may feel a slight chill in your home, not from fear, but from the wings of angels moving through it. They are organizing, restoring, adjusting frequencies. Let them work. Don't overthink it. If you hear a tone, or see flashes of light from the corner of your eye, know that it is them, marking their return. What was once empty space is now being inhabited again with divine purpose. Something in your house will break soon, not as punishment, but to release a stagnant vibration. Let it go. Once it's gone, you'll sleep deeper, you'll laugh sooner. You'll breathe easier. A door is opening now, not one built with wood and hinges, but a spiritual gateway designed just for you. Through it will come alignment. People, opportunities, words you've waited years to hear. Type Amen to get blessing 757. Be alert in the next 3 days. A conversation will happen that seems ordinary but carries prophetic weight. You'll feel it in your stomach, the angel inside you will nod. That will be your sign to respond with your whole heart. A piece of mail, a number, a color, one of these will be a spiritual marker. The angels will place it in front of you to confirm that this message wasn't fantasy. It was real, it still is. Don't be tempted to doubt again. Every time you did, the enemy smiled, but today, that smile was wiped clean by the sound of your soul returning to attention. You may not have heard a trumpet, but the heavens did. And now, your name echoes in places where light never fades. Type Amen to get blessing 313. You've just rewritten the next chapter of your life. Not with your hands, but with your awareness. Your refusal to skip this time activated divine coding within you that had been dormant for years. The shadows will try one more time. They will appear as doubt, distraction, maybe even people from your past. Smile, they're already late. They missed their chance. And now, angels are no longer knocking, they're walking freely again, placing shields over your doors, mirrors, devices, and dreams. Their armor is shining because you gave them access. This was never about just one moment, this was about restoring everything that was fading when you weren't looking. Now it's being returned, multiplied, magnified, and mastered by heaven. Type Amen to get blessing 818.